Everybody that follows the NBA knows that there are some truly awful contracts out there. Gordon Hayward's getting paid $30 million a year to never play. Rudy Gobert's getting paid a ton of money, getting paid like a superstar when he is not one. But those are a little bit obvious, don't you think? Let's talk about some NBA contracts that are truly bad, but maybe not for the reasons you would initially think. Let's start the list off with a little bit of a shocking one. How about Jalen Brown of the Boston Celtics? Now, initially you're thinking Jalen Brown signed a non-max extension a couple of seasons ago. He's been an all-star, he's been an all-NBA caliber player, been one of the better perimeter players in the entire league this season, and has continued to grow and improve since he signed the extension. How is this possibly a bad contract? It's the definition of a value contract, a player that is playing above what they're being compensated. Well, it could cause Boston to just lose Jalen Brown outright, because had they signed him to a max contract at the time of that extension, then they would have been able to just go ahead and re-sign him once again to an extension. The way that all this works and the way that the salary works for Jalen Brown is he can only sign his new extension as a percentage of what his previous contract was. And because his previous contract was not a max, he can't sign an extension right now with Boston for a max, which not only is what he deserves, but also is what he is going to want. So as a result, it makes no sense financially for Jalen Brown to sign an extension prior to becoming an upcoming free agent here. And that could cause Boston just to assume, well, Jalen Brown, of course he's going to want to stay, he's going to want to come back. They wait all the way until he becomes a free agent and then he leaves for nothing. So what could have been a value contract for Boston in the long term, then the continued improvement of Jalen Brown has actually allowed it to be, interestingly, a pretty negative contract for them, especially if Jalen Brown ends up leaving. Now, obviously, they could just sign him to the max in free agency and everything could be fine. They can still offer him more in free agency than any other team could, but it's still a little bit of a weird situation given that it was a value, but now it might actually be a bad thing for them. Really quickly, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Sorare. Sorare is the future of fantasy sports, allowing you to be the GM of your own digital team with officially licensed player cards from the NBA and other leagues. You can buy, sell, collect, and trade these digital cards to compete in weekly fantasy games and earn rewards, including more player cards, tickets to games, autographed jerseys, and more. But the point to me is not just that you're picking players every single week, but you're also thinking ahead. You're thinking about the future. You're thinking about up and coming players, guys that you might be able to get at good value now in the marketplace that a couple of weeks or a couple of months are going to be much, much better. And you can put together a crazy stacked lineup if you can figure out which players are going to continue to improve. It isn't just about getting the superstars of the league. It's about being your own GM of your own fantasy team and also testing your skills against my own. Right now, you can click the link in the description to sign up for my league, and there are two different ways to join. The first, you can join for free and set your lineup from a selection of common cards. You pick the players that you think will perform the best while staying under the points cap. Secondly, if you want to compete for rewards that are specific to my league, you can pay for limited edition cards and compete in the limited contender league every single week as well. In the limited contenders league, you do also have to stay under that points cap, and as I said, you can compete for rewards that are specific to my league. So you can click the link in the description and join for free, and then you've got those two options there, either play for free or you can pay for those limited edition cards as well. So Rare's going to be a sponsor on the channel for a while, so I'm going to keep you guys updated on the league. I'm going to keep you guys updated on cards that I'm looking for, how I'm trying to improve my team, and how things are going over there on Sorare. And thank you again to Sorare for sponsoring this video. Next up now is the big one for me, and that's Jordan Poole. Now, we all know what happened this past offseason between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. He gets punched, and then he gets an extension not too long after. We also know that when Golden State made that decision, they were deciding not just what they wanted to pay Jordan Poole, but also potentially if they were willing to let some of these other guys go in upcoming free agencies, whether they be Draymond or potentially a Klay Thompson trade, whatever the case may be. Choosing to pay Jordan Poole wasn't just let's pay him, but it was also, hey, we might be sacrificing a new Draymond contract just because of all the big salaries that they already have on the roster. Well, now it's kind of a weird situation because they base that number off of someone like Tyler Hero, who's been, pretty good in Miami. They're kind of similar style players in terms of guys that can really score and create. Obviously not very good defenders, but it hasn't been a fantastic Jordan Poole season. And whenever you watch him, at least whenever I watch him, I constantly think about the fact that this guy's making a ton of money. Like, obviously the cap continues to go up, but he's making like kind of star level money for a player that is kind of just a heat check guy out there. And you wonder, you have to wonder if everything didn't happen with Draymond the way that it did, would they one have paid him as much? Two, would they have paid him at the time or just waited until, this upcoming offseason as a restricted free agent? We have one high level production season from Jordan Poole. Prior to that, he was a G League level player. And yes, he was very good last year, but that's one of those secretly that you look at like, oh yeah, he's young, he's improving, he's going to continue to get better. And now it's like, wait, is this actually a bad deal for us? Next up now on the list is one that I'm very passionate about, and it is Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. Now, you might look at Bradley Beal's salary and his production and say, well, he's an all-NBA caliber player. He's one of the better perimeter scorers in the league. Bradley Beal's worth a max contract. That's the end of it, right? Like, yes, maybe he's getting a little bit older. Maybe he has some injury issues, but when he's healthy, he's, on that Jimmy Butler level of player. Like, he's really, really good, okay? That might be the case. case. That might be true. I would argue that he's still getting paid too much, and generally he's a little bit overrated given the fact that he's in all these trade rumors all the time, and people kind of assume that he's like an all-NBA caliber guy when he's really only ever been that once or twice, and then on a consistency basis, just never really been able to stay healthy the last few seasons. But the bigger issue, and if you've seen any of my videos in the past, you would know this already, is the no trade clause. Bradley Beal gets the opportunity to pick where he would like to be traded if at any point in this 5-year extension where he's making $50 million a year, he gets to decide, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. He can say, I want to go to the Lakers, I want to go to the Knicks, anywhere else, I'm going to veto the trade. He has veto power over any trade, which means that Washington can only trade him to teams that he wants to go to. And that is a big issue, one, for Washington in terms of getting value in exchange for Bradley Beal and trying to get the maximum amount of value for him. And two, they didn't really need to throw that one in there. The guy was already getting $50 million a year, much more than any other team could have offered him. I don't know why they then had to throw the no trade clause in there. Like, was Bradley Beal going to leave and turn down the extension if they didn't put a no trade clause in the trade? I've done this rant before. I don't understand it. You could make the argument that Bradley Beal's worth what he's being paid if you want to, but that's not the point. What makes this an awful contract is that no trade clause. Second to last now is another one that I'm pretty passionate about, and that is Tobias Harris. Now, a lot of people like to talk about this as a bad contract for a variety of different reasons. I actually feel like Tobias Harris has done a pretty good job this year of trying his best to be worth that contract. He's improved defensively. He's become a little bit better of an off-ball shooter. Has really changed his game a lot since he came over from the Clippers in a trade a couple of seasons ago. But the thing is, Tobias Harris is never going to be worth this contract. And it's not because he's getting paid too much money. It's not because of the deal that he signed. It's because of the role that he's going to have in Philadelphia. There's never going to be enough opportunity to go around with Harden there, Maxey and Embiid, for Tobias Harris to be worth over $30 million a year. Like, he can be in certain situations, and I think at times with the Clippers, he showed a ton of value as a perimeter scorer, as a guy running pick and rolls, as someone that can create for you, but he's just not going to be that guy in Philadelphia. And so the secret to this one is not necessarily the number. Yes, generally he's overpaid. Yes, he can disappear in games, and that's pretty tough for a guy that at one point signed a max contract. But that's not really the point. The point more so is in terms of his role and his opportunity, he could become a much better player tomorrow, and he's just not going to be worth that much money to Philadelphia because he's just not going to have the opportunity in the role to justify the massive amount he's getting paid. And it's not really a Tobias Harris issue. It's more about the fact that Philly wanted to keep him. I think it was a smart decision to keep him because he's a critical piece of their team now. But in terms of his role and his opportunity, he's just never going to be worth that much money. And the last step on the list now is John Collins. And everybody knows John Collins probably makes a little bit too much money. But again, the secret to this one, the non-obvious part of this, it's not the fact that, oh, John Collins is pretty good but not great. It's not the fact that he makes too much money. It's not the fact that maybe his role is a little bit weird in Atlanta and they've been trying to trade him for years and years and years. It's that he kind of makes like just a little bit too much money, and he's good. He's not a bad player by any means, but he's not great either. And it's a little bit weird to try and find a fit for him. And given his contract, he's just always going to be worth more to Atlanta than he is to other teams. That's why they re-signed him in the first place. And he's just in that specific little in-between area, that no man's land of contracts where it's like, it's not awful. Like, it's not salary dump territory. It's not like Atlanta's going to attach a first-round pick to get rid of John Collins. It's not like they're going to trade him away for like one expiring contract. He's not that bad. He's still young. He's still improving, still valuable to their team, but he's also not like valuable as a trade piece. Like, the best you could probably do is what Dallas did for Kristaps Porzingis, where they got like Dinwiddie and Bertans back. Like, that's basically what you're looking at for John Collins. And for Atlanta, there's just no reason for them to make that move. He's always going to be worth more to them than he is to other teams. And that's why it's a really, really tough contract, not only to have on your team, but just to move in general. Let me know down in the comment section below what other bad contracts you think there are around the league that are sneaky bad, not the obvious ones, the secretly bad NBA contracts. Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.